Okay, so what you were doing last time is figuring out factors. Now we have a number in front of the x. Okay, so that's what's different here. That and how we figure out what our sums are. So notice we have a number in front of here. So we're calling this a. Okay, so we're focused on our a, our b, and our c as far as solving. So we're doing factors of 2 and we're doing factors of 12. Okay? So factors of 2, factors of 12, 1 and 2, and then factors of 12, 4 and 3. So 4 times 3 is 12. We want it to equal that. 1 times 2 is 2. That checks out. Now we have to do outer inner. I color coordinate these on purpose. So 1 and 3, the outers. 1 and 3. Inners, 2 and 4, 2 and 4. It's always that way. Okay? Now, this is parentheses, so we're multiplying. So 1 times 3 is 3, 2 times 4 is 8. We add these together. 8 and 3 is 11. That's our middle number. We're good. Okay? So there's more steps involved, right? Before you're factoring one number, now you're factoring 2. Okay? Any questions so far? Okay, how do you check that you got them in the right order? You need to FOIL it out. Okay? So this 1 becomes whatever the variable is, x. We add an x to right here, whatever this number is. So no matter what it is, what's going to be inside here is the number in x. 4 goes on the inside and 3 goes on the outside. Okay? It always goes this way. So the easiest way to remember it, these are your first 2 terms in x, and these are your second terms inside FOIL. Okay? From here we're going to FOIL it. X times 2x, that's x times 2x. And then 3 times x, 3x. 4 times 2x, 4 times 2x. And then 4 times 3 is 12. Simplify. So that's 2x2 because we have 2 x's. 3x, 8x, 12. We simplify in the middle. 8 and 3, 11. This checks out to the original problem. We factored it out. We're finished. Okay? So these ones take a little bit longer because you're factoring 2 numbers, right? Typically, you notice 5, 4, 2. The first numbers are usually, because it's quadratic, or smaller. So usually the factoring, those first couple of numbers is fairly easy. Okay, any questions on this so far? A little different, right? A little more complicated. Factor, factor. Those factors, the total after multiplying them outer, inner, need to equal the middle. Okay? So let's do a couple more. So 5x minus 14 plus 8. Notice the difference there. This one's plus and this one's minus. Okay? So we have factors of 5 and 8. You gotta love these because you know what it is. You don't have to think about it. It's not 3. It's not 2. It's positive. It's 1 and 5. That part's easy. Next part, we know this has to be negative. So I'm going to use a negative 2 and negative 4. Negative 2 times negative 4 is positive 8, so that checks out. And then I'm going to do my outer inner. There's my outers, there's my inners. So 1 and negative 4, 5 and negative 2, solve for it. 1 times negative 4, 5 times negative 2, negative 10, add those together, negative 14. That checks out to the negative 14, so we're okay. You do have to FOIL these. The reason why you have to FOIL these, if we would have put this in reverse order, there's a chance we could get it wrong and it wouldn't FOIL out correctly. Okay, so that's why we do the second set of FOILing. So, the 1 and 5, these are the first terms. The negative 2 and 4 are the second terms. We go ahead and solve for this. X times 5x, we write it out. And then x times negative 4, negative 4x. Negative 2 times 5. And then negative 2 times negative 4. Then simplify. 5 times 1, 5. x2, that's negative 4x, negative 10x. We can add those together. Negative 14x, positive 8, negative 2, 4. This checks out to the original problem. We're good. Negative 14 and 8. This checks out. So it FOILed out correctly. Okay. The next 3 a little bit different. This is when our C, or the very last factor, is negative. Okay? So factors of 4 right here, and then factors of negative 2. So 1 and 4, and then we start with 2 and negative 1. Okay? So then we're outer inner, so we're 1, negative 1, 1, negative 1, and then inner, 4 and 2. 4 and 2. So we solve for this. 1 times negative 1, negative 1. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 minus 1 is 7. That checks out. Okay? So anytime it's negative, you just have to be careful that your answer here multiplies to negative and then what the inner and outer is. Okay, from here, so we have our 1 and 2, our first terms inside parentheses, and then our 4 and negative 1 inside parentheses. Depending on what the variable is the variable that goes here and the variable that goes here, okay? If it's y or it's x, then that's what happens with it. So here we're going to FOIL this out, y times 4y, and then y times negative 1, we could just write that as negative y. 2 times 4y, and then 2 times negative 1, and then simplify it and finish the problem. Dominic, I need you closer, please. Okay, so 4 and y, there's 2 y's there, 4y2, negative y, there's 8y, 2 times 4, we got to do the multiplication first. So that becomes 7y, and then 2 times negative 1, negative 2. This all checks out, we have it in the right order. Now, if it does not FOIL out correctly, typically you got this out of order, okay? We could have started this as negative 1 and negative 2. It can happen here that you can get the right answer, but it's wrong here. It just means that you need to flip the second factors over to get it to FOIL out correctly. Okay, any questions on this one? Are we understanding the pattern? Pretty straightforward, right? Okay, next one, same thing. We're looking for factors of 4 and negative 5, okay? So we know we're going to be 1 and 4. Could there have been something else here?
2 and 2.
2 and 2, that's correct. Always start with 1, and then if it doesn't factor out, go to your next numbers, okay? Then, we're positive here, right? So I know I'm going to need to be negative in here. So negative 5, I'm going to use negative 5 and 1, right? And then my outer inner, 1 and 1, and negative 4 and 5. If you can look at the 4 and 5, right, we know that that's 20. So we're close to the 19, so we know that we're probably correct. 1 times 1 is 1. 4 times negative 5, negative 20. That's 19. That checks out. We're okay. Then from here, our first 2 terms, and the first 2 terms within the parentheses, and then our second terms, negative 5 and 4x. Here we FOIL it out to see if we get the right answer. So x times 4x, 4x, x times 1, x times 1, negative 5 times negative 4x, negative 5 times negative 4x, negative 5 times 1. Go ahead and simplify. So that's 4 times 1, 4, x2. That's just an x by itself. That's 20x, 5 times negative 4, and then minus 5, and there becomes our 19. So negative 20 plus 1, negative 19, this checks out. Okay? Now, the next one, the example I was telling you about the numbers being reversed, Adrian, I kind of gave you this example. So this is how you'll see it, okay? So we're doing factors of 15, right? So we know it's 3 and 5, so we start with 3 and 5. Factors 1 and 2, we already know what those are, we don't have to guess. The only thing that could happen, the 2 could be in front. It's possible, but typically it doesn't work that way. So we're 1 and 2 and 3 and negative 5. So we're outer, 1, negative 5, 1, negative 5, and 2 and 3. So we solve for this. Negative 5 and 6, negative 5 and 6 is 1. That's not going to work. We need a 7. Okay? So the very first thing we want to do is we want to flip these around. So we're going to take negative 5 and 3. So negative 5 and 3 is still 15. We're good here. We're good here. Now we're going to do outer inner. Sit, 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 sit. Well, the next string, don't get up, please. So 1 and 3 in parentheses, and 2 and negative 5 in parentheses, and then solve this out. 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times negative 5, negative 10. That one's negative 7. More than likely, we have these in the right order, but we want to FOIL it when we're done. If this checks out, more than likely, we're good. Okay? So from here, our 1 and 2s go in here, and then our 3 and 5s are our second terms. So these are our first terms, these are our second terms. And then we FOIL it out. So we write this out in parentheses for the FOIL steps. X times 2x, x times 2x, x times 3, negative 5 times negative 2, negative 5 times 2x, negative 5 times 3, and then simplify. 2 times 1, 2, 2x's. That's just a 3x by itself. That's a negative 10x, and that's negative 15. Solve inside here. Negative 10, 3. There's our 7x. This checks out. So, more than likely, your terms, it's A, figuring out your terms, If it doesn't sum out correctly, then more than likely they're reversed. They could be reversed, or this could be a -3, -5. But you'll know when you do your sums, okay? As long as you understand the patterns, you should be okay, okay? Number in front, that means you have two factors. You got to factor this number, and you got to factor the C, okay? So factor, factor, then it's outer, inner. That's what's new, okay? Your outer terms go inside parentheses. Your inner terms go inside parentheses. You multiply to figure out what the sum is. Okay, is there any question? Okay, so you guys want to work on the do now. You have several questions. This is exactly how you want to set it up. Make sure that you FOIL it to get to check it. Yes?
Can I finish my test from last week?
Oh, I'd rather have you do the do now first. Okay, get started on this. So start with this one and then work your way down.